What's going on, macro perspective peeps? First off, I want to start the call. This is going to be an amazing call. I can already tell with the 5 minutes I've been hanging out with our guests today that I'm going to be blown away. I'm going to be taking notes. So please pull out your notebooks, record this however you like, and we'll be doing that. But first off, please like, comment, share, and if you really want to bring a world of health and wellness to others, an easy share to someone else with a post would be great for us. So with that being said, guys, we've got Hellen. I don't want to butcher the last name, but I think you've got two last names.
I
Which do you
actually,
prefer,
I have
Helen?
one. I have one, which is Nitschke. I left the
Okay,
Tatiana, it's my second name, because it's
Nitschke.
how it is, my Facebook. So it's easier to find me.
Uh-huh. Got
The
you. We
Hellen
got Helen Nitschke in the
Tattiane.
house, and
Can
yeah,
you hear me?
we have her in the house. And today, I mean, I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Yeah, I hear you. She's got an amazing background, a background in marketing. She's growing a company right now. She's done fashion. She's done a lot in the business world. So I think this conversation here will go delve into business systems, how to market, how to do all this stuff, and talk about all these things, which I think a lot of people on the show, whenever we get them on, a lot of people take action on. So with that being said, Helen, would you mind introducing yourself, kind of like where you're at right now in kind of life and what you're excited to do, and we'll kind of let the conversation casually flow.
Awesome. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me here. First of all, I'm excited to be here. If you wonder where the accent come from, because I'm sure you will, I'm Brazilian, and I've been here in US for 15 years. When I got here, like just backing forward really quick, I got here. I was a fashion designer in Brazil already, and but I didn't speak any English, so I gave myself like a year to be able to do fashion school here. From there, I really worked very hard, got in not just in fashion school, but I was able to have an amazing career in fashion, working for big names like Adidas, Ripco, Billabong, and still seeing my designers all over. But in this journey, as I launched my own brand, I find out to suck in marketing sales. So as I dive for help, I became very good at it, and now I have opportunity to help others. And that's what I've been doing, and I shifted from the hate to love relationship, and that's my mission and my passion to show people that actually marketing and sales is not just necessary for any business, but it's relationship. It's not about sales and marketing, but it's about building a relationship.
Mhm.
So I'm super excited.
Love that. And we've had so many guests recently literally say the exact same thing. Like, while marketing is what everybody is like under the guise of like, hey, you need to niche it down and do this and, all these things that are a common theme, all right? They are all talking about, the delivery of said product or service ultimately is, really where it matters most. So I think when you mentioned that exact thing, I think back to all of our, kind of marketing or business development people that have been on so far. And again, it's conversation, it's authenticity, it's so many elements that I think a lot of people can easily lose sight of because, well, we want to scale, we want to make money, yeah, dope. But mm, I mean, our guest yesterday talked about, I scaled, I went after growth, I wasn't happy, I needed to
Yeah.
reevaluate what I wanted to be. And as a result, he's like, I'm going back to doing stuff solo, with other little projects with like a small, like, collaborative two-person team. And we're like, that's noble. It's good to hear these stories because I think in doing all the roles, wearing all the hats in a business, you learn so much. And yeah, that's where we're grateful to have you on today to talk more about, you know, the element of systems. And again, I think people will probably listen to a few of the marketing people we've had on, or business solutions people, and understand that everybody has something a little bit different, but there's some common themes. And I think that's where, the person that's maybe right to work with for an individual looking to have growth and in whatever way that they deem most appropriate is kind of cool. That's where we're so happy to have so many different people. And ironically, a lot of you marketing people have a nice accent, so it's kind of cool.
The struggle is
True.
real. Yeah.
American
No,
dream, Helen. It's the American dream to be
it's
able
the
to
American
provide for
dream. It
yourself,
is.
do something you're passionate about.
Yeah. No, and more than that, it's just
Um,
I think coming from another country, we don't take for granted any single little thing that sometimes whoever grows here like don't even realize is a privilege to have. So I think that's why so many accents.
Yeah.
yeah, it's this. I mean, that one. It really is what makes America great is the ability to attempt something that may be out of reach anywhere else. Um, of course, operating by like the rules that we have in place nowadays. We had a conversation about like education. I've listened to a podcaster recently. Like our education system was built on the old school way of thinking and old school like manufacturing and how businesses used to operate and developing skill sets to go into that workplace. Whereas today, your best teacher is probably YouTube and small micro courses and things of people's ideas that can resonate. And I think it really is a wonderful time to be a solopreneur, entrepreneur, somebody that just wants to like again experience business. So this is really cool. This is what me and Seamus are really kind of passionate about. And again, like it's a part of health because finances are basically where your health starts. It allows you and affords you opportunities. So my first question to you though is when it comes to the people that you mainly attract, I think you said it's primarily women, correct?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay. So,
Can you hear me
why
well?
women over men? Yeah,
Yeah, you're good.
there's probably a slight delay, but you're good.
Yeah. Okay. It's not that we try, and the more we call out women, more we ended up attracting men too. I think one of the things that you said and mentioned about someone that grows so fast and then want to go back to be small, I do not take for granted the step by step and do organically. We grow so fast in a year or two just organically because we are really listening and taking our stories to in helping people with our stories. And because I am from corporate world, so is my partner. Mostly we started like really sharing this story how we felt trapped inside corporate for so many years, and we couldn't really like do
Mm.
what we love to do. And they ended up connecting with so many women too that we took the time like 15 years 20 years like building others people's dreams and barely have time with our kids, and then got to a point we realized like what are we doing exactly. And I believe this connection was so real, we open up on our hearts, and because of that automatic we connected. So and that's why we start and we ended up attracting more women because of this connection, especially like talking about kids, like really talking about I left my kids so many times to be in that corporate job that I didn't even have a time for a break. So those things I believe that was the true us that attracted the women.
Mm.
Is that delay?
No, 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 no. Processing. I think I think with where we're all out and obviously like I'm a father, just like my wife is a mother, right? Like I think there is a different connection with parents in general, especially ones that may feel like corporations are no longer seeing their value and they have other skills they want to really try to influence on the marketplace or take that leap. Um, I think a lot of the times it starts as a side hustle and then they realize maybe I should do this as my main thing.
Yeah.
And they have that fear of going all in. And, you know, um, again, I think like you're saying, like how and why should we do this? But I think what we've as coaches, what we understand is bring in a mentor, bring in somebody that has done this and can again I think the Hormozis of the world are now to the place like yeah I go from $100 million businesses and beyond. Those are the people I acquire. But I started with the people not making a whole lot of money type of businesses. So I mean everybody generally evolves. They want to evolve. They want to have a growth mindset or just growth for themselves. And it's kind of It's kind of cool. That's kind of like, that's what the macro perspective really is. Hey, here's somebody in this field in this range. Does that suit your needs? Maybe you should reach out to that person. And yeah, I mean, we don't take for granted so all the amazing guests that we've had so far, because they're all in different phases, and that person is like, oh yeah, like let's work with them right now. Like that person is really where I'm at, and I fit their demographic, right? That's kind of the beauty of it, and something we're finding out is, you know, we're exposing people to different niche people, and shoot, people are taking action just like we are, and we're super excited about it.
Yeah.
We got a lot of things that what we were talking about right before this off camera, right, and things we'll talk about afterwards. But so yeah, I mean, the challenges that we face, Helen, like what's like the main challenge that someone maybe doing advertising or marketing is generally facing? Like what's their first issue, and how do you usually resolve that?
I think as you were speaking and talk about Hormozy too, I was like thinking here and processing, and it's all connected. You said about someone that went so big because it's the money, the money, money. And then I think the biggest challenge is we see the people we admire, the big gurus, and then we want to be where they are at right now. We forget to look that was a curve to get there, was a time that they spent to get there. And we forget to really pay attention. How did they start? Hormozy is awesome. I love him, his story and everything, because yes, he got in there, but he literally got like being broke and knocking doors one by one. He didn't try to go big and pretend he had everything figured it out. He said, "Hey, I think I can help you. And I have this. Would that be okay for you? Can I try? Can we try this together?" And I think if we are humble enough to understand where we at and love that phase of our life, like my partner and I with Gal Launch Agency, we grow super fast in a year. We grow much more than six figures, just really listening to people when literally knocking door to door and asking a question: how can I help you? How can I help? And overcome that these
Mm,
fears is easier than we think, because we think that overcome these fears means I have to be huge in social media, I have to be huge in that. No, find your audience, know who do you want to serve, know what you want to do, like what is the problem you're solving, and go and ask a simple question like, how can I help you? And the you don't we don't have to
mm,
be fearful, because honestly nobody start big. And I love the idea of they be able is still to have a small group coaching, because with a small group coaching I can literally like hold their hands, like carry them with me, hug them and love and be a mother. And Hormozy
mhm,
right now, before he used to be that person to the small business, now he can offer the same type of connection, the same level of connection, because now he grows so big. So I'm sure he miss those days too, because that's when the real connection happens.
yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, Helen. It's funny, the Hormozis are big now, but I remember back in 2017, 2018, introducing that to my boss at a previous gym. Like I saw this guy on stage with this mustache, and he's like, "How to get, more money in the gym?" And we ordered his book, Gym Launch Secrets, read that over the weekend, and we started pulling all those levers, right? And we started pulling all those levers, and next thing you know, in 3 months we pulled some of the levers. We were doing like a semi-private model like you're talking about. We were pulling certain things, but then I looked, I'm like, well, they have this new company called like Prestige Labs. Their margins are 40%. We were doing a supplement company before. It was a local one. Their margins was 5%, and we had high volume. We were the highest volume, and we said, hey, we're going to go to another, we're going to another retention a center, another center to fulfill our supplements. And in that year, it was funny because we pulled those things and we made so much more money, and we fell right into COVID. And I remember going through that
Wow.
time with the Hormozy and his team, Ed Turney, Caleb, like we were on meeting calls all the time. And basically they're teaching us like, this is how you sell online. This is how you scale your gym. And they were teaching us that whole online model. And I think that was when I was in the trenches, Helen, like learning how to connect with my clients better instead of just telling them point and click, hey, this is your meal plan. Hey, this is
Yeah.
how you personal train. actually connecting with them and seeing how we could solve that problem and learning those skills that Hormozy talks about. Don't sell a membership, sell to the goal, right? If you're 50 pounds weight loss, it's a 50-week program, not a month to month program. So we learned how to pull those levers, how to make more money. And he solved that problem for us, because I really think him and his team with the gym launch program, when we signed up, everything changed. They solved our problem in COVID. We didn't know how we were going to pay the bills. In a week or two, we pulled all the levers we could because we were desperate. California, Southern California, the cops were like,
Yes.
don't go anywhere, don't all that stuff, and we were just so scared. But we pulled all those levers, and then in a month we were starting to be profitable again. It's just crazy how, yeah, you're exactly right. We were in that small group of theirs. We were one-on-one. I was being mentored day in, day out on how to sell certain things, how to speak in a certain way. And man, it's probably the most amount of growth I've ever had. And I definitely, when I spoke to Hormozy once, because he's been on a few meetings, and I met him at a few, like, cons and stuff. Obviously, he's like way up there now, but I just have to shake his hand and literally say, like, thanks, you know, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, because your work literally saved this community. It saved me. Yeah, so I got to give the guy props, and it's what you guys do as folks that are solving these niche problems in the new age of business. It's you got to have these new creatives, right? You got to have these new creatives.
No, and it's like he had to go through this problem and like really face down. But that's why I encourage people: start it, see a problem, start it, because those is started small is so precious. Is so precious, because that gives us the opportunity to really ask deep questions. So I think people fall too much in the mistake, and now right now is out there like everything is millions, right? Like if you're not making like multi-million dollars, like you suck, and
Mm,
that's not true. That's not true. Like because sometimes people highlight so much the money and they forget to ask like, Seamus, what is really important to you? Like for me, I'm a type of girl. I love what you guys do because I'm all about like health and wealth. My thing is like if I don't start my day working out
yeah.
and focusing on what I want to do and having my time for myself, my day will be horrible, and I'm not gonna be a nice girl. I have way too much energy. And if I save the energy, it's like my husband, oh, please get out of here, go run, do something. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that connection for me, for example, if someone just come talking to me about money, 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 I probably like, oh, because I want to travel. I want to go back to California and surf. That's
Mm,
what is important to me. I want to connect to the
yeah.
nature. I want to have time to really hug my kid and just be there with him like for seconds or minutes. And if I
Mm,
don't have the Ferrari, I don't care because I don't think I even like the Ferrari. So it's just, we became that thing that everybody has to talk about the same thing. And we forgot to say, hey, Marcus, what is important to you? What do you really want? If it is a Ferrari, do you like the red? Or maybe it's just the yellow? Not even that, like it's so simple. Sorry, I get excited. No, no, sorry. I'm not
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
the
No,
not.
the
I
niche. No,
love that. No, please,
no,
please.
no, no, no. This is the space to do it, honestly, because we're we're trying to show people that it's while money affords you the things that you might need in a particular lifestyle, as you do get to certain places or certain junctures where you can go left or right. Left is make more money and have less time to be available to your kids and your family. Right is finding the balance. And I think that most people since COVID were looking for some sort of harmony between those two.
Mm-hmm.
Growing to enough, not overreaching. And as the message becomes more concise, right, we're able to kind of harness exactly what we need. And I think, everybody really should, looking at your bullet points here, unlock your true potential, right? And, where is optimization of said lifestyle? I mean, we're in our field, we're optimizing people with minimum dose response relationships to exercise, because most of the time people are like, hey, only time I've ever been skinny was in high school, and I played a sport and I did this. I worked out 3 times a day and blah blah blah. Like, okay, like, yeah, we know, bro. Like, this is literally everybody. Everyone wants to get back to their high school body before they put on the freshman 15. We get it,
I
right?
don't.
But what's realistic for you now? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Okay,
I,
well
I feel
maybe you
better
can.
and look better
Again,
right
everybody has
now
their.
than in high school because of the consistency.
I can agree.
Yeah.
I can agree.
The,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
well, and
consistency.
that's what we
Now
try
I
to tell
have
them. Say, hey,
consistency. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and just like in business, when you are doing it yourself, you need consistent efforts because no one else is doing it for you. Whereas if you're part of a corporation,
Yeah.
things are going to still operate without you there, and a lot of I can't tell you how many people have made career shift in being health coached with me, right? They're like, Marcos, I'm like really feeling defeated with this job. I'm like, what's stopping you from going to that other one you've talked about with me? They're like,
Hmm.
nothing. I'm afraid. I have some limiting beliefs here. I don't know what's going to be going on. I'm like, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? All you can do is get the offer and say no. At least then you know you're employable. And if you were to lose your job tomorrow, you're good to go. You can find something else, another opportunity. And I know this is like kind of a keynote of what you speak on, right? Like, how do you harness that power of like self-investment for personal success? Like, what is
Yeah.
it that you tell people in order to kind of do that? Because up until like probably about 6 months ago, I had a hard time spending money on myself for like business development or, broadening my portfolio of skills, right?
Yeah. Great point.
Get ready because that
Okay.
is my most passionate
Notebooks out. Notebooks
topic.
out.
Not take note because I go nuts when we talk about this. And here we go. Get ready.
Okay.
I am from Brazil, which is an amazing country, but it still is a third world country. And I born and raised Christian. So that combination is the best combination for scarcity in a level that nobody can understand. It's just you never spend money, no matter what it is. You just don't. You just save, 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 work super hard, work for corporates because they are big and they never gonna go broke and just say amen and you stay there, never follow your dreams, just forget all these things. Just stay right there. So that's how I grew up. The first time I faced the opportunity to invest myself was a $15,000. $15,000. I had a knot in my stomach. It was like I was about to pass out. I was like, I can't do that. It's like it's no way. Like it's crazy, crazy. I couldn't even explain how freak out I got it. In that moment, I felt in my heart, like so deep in my heart. Well, and I was saving money to buy my house. I was like, I'm saving money to buy my house. I was like, I can't do that. This is insane. And then that moment I heard in my heart, I say, do you want to buy one house or you want to really help millions of people, like a lot of people, and maybe buy many houses? Which one you prefer?
Mm.
And that moment in my heart was that quiet voice that was like, I'll take option two. And then I just went for it. I literally closed my eyes, freaking out with fear. I was like, my husband will never I can never ever tell him that because like he's gonna kill me. I got my savings and I did it. I was shaking for probably a week. I couldn't even, I was like, I can't believe I did this. I'm crazy. But the transformation, Marcus, was right there. And the transformation wasn't the course. Yes, everything I learned, everything I grew that year was amazing. But what I didn't know, I did not know, I didn't understand my value. I couldn't open the wallet
Mm.
for me because I felt guilty about it. I'm taking away from my kids, I'm taking away from people that I love. But what I didn't understand that me being strong and growing strong and having someone walking and holding my hand would make me a better wife, a better friend, a better daughter, a better business owner. Like look how many people I was able to help. We helped more than 1,000 people only last year. I would never ever be able to help not even two if I haven't opened the wallet for me. And that transformation happened in a way, Marks, that is no going back. I'm never gonna look at myself and think
Hmm.
about myself the same way ever again. Is no way. I can. Now I know my value. And actually, this tax got high because on this year alone, my partner and I did much more than that investment. And it's something that I literally never want to stop doing because the more I invest,
Yeah.
more I remind myself I am the good soil. I am the one that has to be invested on, and more than anything else. It's not about the things. We get so focused about buy the car, buy the this, the clothes, but we forget that the things fades away. But if I don't grow as a person, don't understand who I am and my value, that everything goes to trash. I don't know.
Man,
Gosh, is this Marcos? How
I
freaking
know.
relevant is this right now, man?
Well, well, yeah. I mean, it's like literally every time, right? It's almost like we seek the people out that are going on with our lives, right? Ironically enough, but I know Seamus because you took that plug or plunge rather into investing into like the NCI coaching. Yeah, how like over a year ago when you
Yeah,
asked me that question and I gave you my honest opinion about it.
yeah,
And again, I was like, this is what it does really well, and then this is
yeah,
what the other one does really well for PN.
yeah,
Granted, then next thing you know is like, oh, PN was included with our other job, right?
yeah.
So all the growth that came from that was a pretty sizable chunk, if I remember, right? Probably
Yeah,
close
so
to
what
that.
happened was Marcos, just a free frame, NCI is a a corporation that does or a business that does nutrition coaching and all and business coaching, and I had previously done a precision nutrition cert, which is really one of the biggest nutrition certs there is as a coach, right, Helen? And for those listening, and as much as they were great, the chunk into the investment that I saw, it was $10,000 right there. But the $10,000, not only as an investment for me, it wasn't just an investment for $10,000 of like, hey, yeah, you get business coaching, you get the nutrition certs. There were 8 certs, by the way, that take a year to do, and then there was a ticket to a big business event. And I'm telling you right now, I think that $10,000, I actually just parted ways with it as fast as I got it because I knew what this guy. I had to get Marcos' second opinion first, but as soon as he said, "No, it's cool," he gave me his honest opinion, but like, oh, the overall concept for me was like, it's good. I'm telling you right now, I put that $10,000 down on March, the end of March. I was at the conference the next week. That week, I don't know what happened, but with everything that they were talking about, I got my $10,000 back within 7 days, and I made more money that year. And I told Marcos, I think I quadrupled like some of my personal training like numbers just that year alone with that concept. Um, and it really comes to show like I was shaking for a second, but when I just took a breath and I saw it really happen over time, you have to be patient, right? Um, that investment to this day, I think it's still one of the best investments I've ever made because it's opened so many doors. It's opened so many doors. And I think the skill, like you're saying, Helen, I don't look at myself the same anymore because I was a different person then. And then also at the same time, the skills that I had were not the same. If you were to ask me certain questions, for example, with my subject matter of like coaching people, I did not have that. I did not have that. And the next year to come out of there, it was a hard year, but I'd look at myself like, I can handle this. I can do this. And Marcos and I are very confident with our skills just because of just one single investment. So I definitely feel you on that, right?
Yeah,
So
I don't
My
quite have
passion.
that much of a deep dive into like an investment quite yet. I am currently investing in software slash coaching things that elevate the communication and connection with my
yeah,
clients, which again, Helen, you kind of spoke on that in the beginning. And I mean, while it's not that much upfront, it's going to be that much over the course of a year. So either I'm going to see my return on that and use the tactics and what they're showing the value in with their system, or I'm not, or I'm going to just drop it. And I think the beautiful thing that this has showed me as they're kind of like constantly marketing their product by using it, it gave me so much awareness that like, whoa, like what a cool thing to see that they're using the same system to coach a group of coaches and
Yeah,
showing you the value of doing that thing as you're a part of their group. And I'm like, again, that person came on our call on the podcast. For those who want to listen to that one, it was Mike Krausen, sorry. And it literally is like, man, like again, you take these inevitable leaps and these steps, and you look at these potential investments in self, and you don't really know. And then I think the pivotal thing is that like, do you see your life without that thing being a part of it. And I'm like, I don't see a lot of the operations that we're going to try to do here and in my personal business and shit, even with my corporate job. I'm gaining so many skill sets that help me elevate other people, which is really invaluable. You can't really put a price tag on it. And I'm like, I
Yep.
think I have
Impossible.
a solution to all of our coaches' problems in our other organization. And then I noticed that we're integrating into this new system. And I'm like, I already am trying to learn how to do this on my own. Creating workflow automations. We're creating things that, again, are on behalf of you so that you can step in to be the human once the automation is run. Ton of
Yeah.
value. And even if people know that that thing is a reminder, your coach is now responsible for sending that reminder, right? And that's the value exchange. They'll know, you can tell them, hey, there's half automations to make sure that I'm staying in cadence and you're staying in cadence, right?
Yeah.
Accountability leads to your results. Most people sign up, and that's the number one thing. I just need to be more accountable. So, how do we create more accountability? And that's probably the problem that I've been looking at for so long. And shoot, next thing you know, referrals keep coming in. That's the best marketing strategy I know of. Not paying any money
Yes.
out and getting money in, right? Like,
It's the
so
best.
creating your systems really is what I've
Yeah.
been so focused on in the last year since going really in business for myself versus working for companies, right? And
Companies.
it's
Yeah.
been so cool because it's been so much growth because of, being confronted with new challenges. And if you don't face any hardship, like you put it in there, if you never face those challenges, that pivotal moment of like, I can buy a house and we can be comfortable, or I can be uncomfortable, and like I'm going to delay my gratification because this thing is speaking to me. And I know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's where I belong. And it's that story. Shoot, I mean, when I have some additional funds to do that, whatever the next one is, yeah, maybe it is going to like a person who's a step
And
below like a Hormozy because I can't afford that person.
but Marcus, let me tell you one thing that I learned the most. And before I used to think like this, I have to work hard, earn, and then if I can, I invest it. And then when I understood, it's the opposite, because nowadays what I
Hmm.
do, I understood what means be in the room, because be in the room what's going to bring the
Hmm.
connections and things and what accelerate the process and pay a big chunk of money. I'm not saying like people go crazy and do what you can, but it changed something inside of you. I understand the
Yeah.
systems, the softwares, and everything. I invest in all that, and I'm all on board on that too. But it's something about it, the high ticket off that change inside of you in your value, and having a coach close to you, that changed so much, because at the beginning we need to bottle someone else's belief in ourselves. We don't have the amount of belief that we need, and that's the fastest way to get the belief, like bottle from someone. And when I understood be in the room gives me the ability to connect. I would not have like my business partner if I wasn't in the room. So nowadays what I do, I look the room I want to be in. I just say, how much is that room? That's the people I want to sit like together. That's the table I want to be. It's 10K, it's 15K, it's 30K. Okay, I sign up for it. And then people are like, but you don't have the money. I say, okay, I will figure it out. And as soon as I sign, it's unbelievable. You make it happen every time. I can't explain to you. I make it happen. The how presents itself and the money always come. So the things that we fear the most is what we can overcome faster if we take action. One of the things I always say, like, actions bring you clarity. It's not thoughts. Sitting down, I feel like, how can I figure this out? How can I do it? Go for it. And then I can guarantee you the how will present itself. And
Yeah.
the worst that can happen is not going
Yeah.
to work the way you thought it would, but will work.
Yeah. Sheesh, Helen.
That's
It's so funny. Helen's speaking to me right now, Marco. It's like it's funny because I spoke to Marcos and our team. Um, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, Helen, but like 7 days ago, um, a lot of things just came up to me financially. Yeah, I'm in a great place. I was finally debt free for over like a year, off all the debts from college and all these things, and we're at a really comfortable place. But it was funny how like there was like three things that like jumped onto me. One was like a business decision to start investing into more things. One was a personal decision to move my life in a certain way. And then another one was a family decision where we were investing in certain like properties and stuff like that. And I know that the old Seamus would have just been like, no, let's just stay comfortable because like we're at this comfortable place and it's cool. Like we can kind of wait until we have the investment or the money to do this. And then I realized like I've literally been in that same mindset for a long time. I've literally answered my whole life like that. Like, oh, let me just wait until the timing is right. But what's most likely is going to happen is I'm going to wait and then nothing
Never.
happens because other expenses come up, something else happens. So I said, no, what would future Seamus say? Or what do my real values really want? So I have to do a little bit of like fear setting. I have to do a little bit of goal planning. And I just said, you know what? I'm taking on all of this. And it was scary. It was like, I'm taking on this big debt. I'm taking on this. But then I realized like, I've done it before. I paid off like 60 plus K in like
Yeah.
5 months. I've done this. I could do this. Like and I was like, I have certain confidence I could do this again. And so what I did is I said yes to all of it. And I was happy with that decision because instead of staying in that place where I didn't make a decision and felt stuck, I said yes, I took it on. And now the way my mind is thinking is not the same way Seamus was thinking, where it's like, oh, I'm going to chill, I'm comfortable, I have no debts, no whatever. No, now it's like me and Marcos are like, okay, this is what we've got to do. All right, this is the next goal. This is the next goal. And then like me and the family are like, okay, this is how we're going to handle. And it's like you're in this mode of you're not necessarily like problem solving, but you're just finding opportunity in areas you never saw opportunity
You're
in. Like I
fire.
just was not
You put
vibrating on that
yourself
level.
on
And then, oh
fire.
man,
That's it.
yeah, yeah, you
I
really
think
did.
we all need to be desperate. Yeah, we gotta to be desperate. If we're not, like, the thing is, our brain is made to save us, and we want to grieve our brain because it's just
Yeah.
comfortable. But it is the same. That's why I love exercising every morning. I do TRX and I do very hard stuff. I don't like to be like 3 hours in the gym. Don't even try to convince me. Never gonna happen. I'm a wild animal. You can't lock me inside for too long. But I like to go like very intense, like fast and everything. And I push myself every day because that moment in the morning will remind me that pain that I feel, like the muscle pain that I feel through the day, will also remind me in my business that, hey, I just did like a set of like 10 extra push-ups that I couldn't, that I said to myself, like, I don't think I can handle, but I did handle. I invest that other day and I not only handle as a 10x what I did. And the honest truth is, the big guys that we admire, the big gurus, they are always in that. They are constantly like investing. They are always like creating another problem for themselves. Because the reality is, if we don't do that, we just gonna not only stay still, but we probably gonna go backwards, because then the fear will creep in, and then we're gonna
Hmm.
feel less about ourselves. And the fact that you invest him is now all you have to do every day. You have no other option. You have to remind yourself how good you are, because if you don't do it, you're gonna freak out
Now
and
I have,
regret. And
yeah,
that's, you
no,
have
exactly. Like
to.
it
Now
kind
you're
of laid
gonna
out
be,
my,
I can do this.
it literally laid out like what my next 90 days to six months look like because before making that decision I kind of was like, oh, okay, this is what my plan looks like, but it was only up to a certain time. But now that like these things came in my way, I'm looking at my life, I'm like, okay, the next 90 days, this is the sprint. Okay, the next 6 months, this is what's got to happen. The next 12 months, this is the plan. and and my brain is just kind of like doing this. And yeah, you have to remind yourself, Seamus, look, like you've done this before, right? You've done this before. So there's confidence. You can remind yourself that, hey, you're confident. But here's the thing, too. Going back to a few topics we're talking about, and for the audience and Marcos and everyone that is in here, we have other people to rely on, to delegate to, or to ask now
Hmm.
because we built out that network and we have these mentors because we don't do this alone. Because there's some problems I know that I'll run into. For example, I was speaking with Marcos with a specific problem. Like, I don't know how to solve that problem. And he'll give me insight, or we speak to you as a mentor, like, oh, how do we do this? And it's like people don't realize like you can just buy the skill or buy perspective. And next thing you know, being in that room with that person, their beliefs, you like you said, you borrow them. You're not taking beliefs of old Seamus or old John or whoever it is. You're taking beliefs from this
Yeah.
person who might be 5 steps ahead of you or 10 steps ahead of you, how they would do it, and you go, and they just explain it to you in a way you're like, oh, that makes sense, and you
Oh,
just saved all the time in the world. and there's you had that aha moment, the shoe dropped, and you're like, okay, let's go. And when you have that clarity, I don't know what it is, but you move. You just move, you know?
You move
Man.
faster and
Well,
you go
also
fire
too,
and
Seamus, like you said.
excited. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Marcus.
Yeah. And what Seamus was saying about like buying the mentors or buying the people, or we coax them onto the podcast and we give them their, answers to the questions that we're asking them as we're picking their brain. And it helps them with their content and also helps us give some insight to people and ourselves. We're cheating. We're cheating just to let
Cheating the
full
system
Cheating,
a little
cheating.
transparency.
bit.
Full transparency.
Cheating.
That's what we love to do, and we didn't even realize that
Yeah,
that was an avenue until recently, right? And
Yeah.
it's been really cool because now we get to see people that have built pretty amazing things or are building amazing things, their mindsets, where they're at, what's going on, and really all it costs them is an hour of their time. It's an hour of ours, and we're exchanging, like, hopefully we're asking the right questions to these people so that they can go repurpose what they're saying in this format to then go like, damn, I haven't said it that way before. That there's the one. There's the one of like me bringing it to the stage, which is going to actually lead me to my next question for you, because I know that's like a big thing for you. But like, that's really it. Like these questions are really there for like, genuine enthusiasm for this thing as we're doing it. And like, I mean, essentially the macro perspective with adding this element to it is like showing people, growth is uncomfortable, but growth just takes an idea and then it starts with just an action. I mean, we're going to do one episode a week. I think this week we're doing 4 or 5, right? Why? I don't know. We're getting so much value out of it personally. That's our self-development hour every day. It's the
yes.
craziest thing. And I mean, I don't remember who said it, but in your 30s, your network probably supersedes your career or that ambition you had in your 20s to just make money. Now it's about fostering relationships that help you in your 40s where you can just kind of like, again, relax a little bit, understand these things, be the mentor instead of the mentee. And yeah, so that we be cheating is all I wanted to say there as well, because I mean, I'm
It's a
sure
nice way
like
to cheat,
Helen,
so
what's
it's
your
good.
hourly? It is a nice way to cheat, but like, I mean, Helen, like, what would you say your hourly rate would be? Like, if I bought an hour of your time, what would that actually be?
Um, that's a great question. I don't think I stopped to think about it. I Oh man, I'm gonna have to. I love that question. I love that question. Now I'll have to think about it. I cannot find a good
Okay,
answer right
well,
now.
for me, an hour of my time with anything I'm typically doing is about $80 to $100, right? Anything that's like
Uh-huh.
personal venture and personal relationship wise, right? Um, and that stems across multiple disciplines, whether it's tutoring, whether it's coaching, whether it's something else, right? Am I willing to cut it down a little bit to like give more value to people? Absolutely, because I think that's kind of like where the energy exchange matters more than the actual dollar amount. But again, like I have a number right now, and of course, like if I could actually make $100 an hour every day for, let's say it's 7 hours or 6 hours, who doesn't want to make $600 a day, right? Like that
Yeah,
sounds like a pipe dream. But I think if once you tell yourself what your hourly rate actually is, you won't do it. That's when you start to learn to say no and you show growth,
say no.
right? Starting
Yeah,
to say no to people. They're like, oh man, that's a little bit too expensive to tutor Algebra 1. I was like, yeah, but I'm the cheat code to making your son pass this exam. They're going to pass their SATs with a 700, guaranteed.
yeah,
That's what you get, right? Also, if your son has a question, I'm gonna add to my service. I'm not just there for that hour. Have them facilitate that question later on down the week, right? Finding new ways to add value to people is really what I'm all about. And this leads into the question, right? Getting on the stage. So I think I told this to Seamus. The whole reason for the podcast is to get better at public speaking to then go present a similar type of, more concise speech. We'll call it rhetoric, if you will, so that when we're in front of a group of people, there's a level of comfort. But you
yeah,
need probably 10,000 hours of talking, right, with people as if you're addressing an audience to feel more and more comfortable and have whimsical speech. So I know like you meant like dress for the stage and the top 3 things that you need to know in order to win. But like, so what are those top 3 things? 1 and 2. Um, I'll save 2. What are the top 3 things first?
the top three things first. Okay, so
Yeah.
the stage is definitely like it's funny because I I never thought of me being a speaker or anything. I was like, no. And at first, when I went to support my business partner. She said, I want to go back to be a speaker. And I went to support her in an online competition. And I said, I'm just going to go vote for her. And then as we were in a room like this, they asked, does anybody else want to try? I was like, yeah, I'm like just waiting. Let's do it. And I ended up winning that competition and not her. I was like, yeah, who knows? And so it took me to this whole process of being actually in actual stage and everything. But what I didn't realize that you said that was really, really good right now, it takes like $10,000 or even more, because I was like constantly, first I challenged myself with going live every day and then teaching people and then doing challenge and then doing live events and then coaching and all this all the time. Like my every day was in front of a camera and talking to people and guiding people. So I thought I wasn't a speaker, but I didn't realize I was speaking for like a year, and I did more than 50 events, but I just didn't call that. So when I get there, I ended up winning, not because, oh, she's just like natural born, but what it looks natural born. And some people say, like, oh, Helen, you're so good in front of camera. I was like, yeah, it took me 2 years crying to be so good in front of camera. So that's something you're born with. So one of the things for stage, the three things is really like Trent Shelton say that so the so way so beautifully, which is, do you want to speak? You speak. If you want to speak, just speak every day, speak in your bathroom, speak in your mirror, speak to people, just speak. Sometimes the things we want to do we keep like putting aside, and we forget, if that's what I want to do, just do it every day. That would be definitely number one. So the two other things that I say, win the stage before you even start speaking, is definitely like my background in fashion. One of the things I see for men and for women, that stage has a very different lights, even even online stage, but like especially the in-person type of stage has a lot of lights, a lot of things. Really know your body type, know what works for you. Sometimes I see speakers trying to be so focused in what the other like famous speakers are wearing, that when you're starting as a speaker, also I need people to concentrate in me and really know and listen to me. So if I'm wearing something that it doesn't really work with me, it, it kind of is distraction. It's very distracting. I don't know if you guys experience that, or it's just me because my eyes on fashion and being specialized in fitting, it really distracted. And so that is one of the things I teach. And I was able to even bring a big speaker at Grant Cardone event. So I was her stylist for being on GrowthCon. Really know your type of body and be you. Focus more about what it works for you in general than what is the other speakers and people are doing, because that can actually not work in your advance. And that, like, also in the third part is be confident on the stage, will be really know the type of fabrics that really make your body looks great and make you feel comfortable, not too comfortable too, because you have to be looking good. It's very, very important to have that presentation, that the way you're dressing is already like talking about who you are and what you bring to the table. I think that that's my main
Mhm.
3 points for the speaking.
Okay. It's it's funny. Like, how do you dress when you go on stage?
You gotta be careful with fabrics. I can tell you that. Fabrics is the key of success, because the lights can kill you, especially for girls. The fabric, please pay attention.
uh,
And in case I like not sure the answer, go with black, because it is
Feel like we're getting a
another
fashion.
set of lights. Yeah, no, it is important
okay.
to dress like for you guys that you talk about wealth and fitness. Let's say, one of the things, the biggest mistakes that I see, that everybody they want to build authority, so they think that the suit and tie is the building authority thing. But for you guys, for example, building authority, look like how Hormozy goes into space. Like he is the gym guy. Like he show his muscles. Yes, of course, it makes sense because that's his authority. And that's what I'm saying. Like what connects it to you and what you do is really important. It's not because that
Yeah,
person goes like all full suit, but like what does this person talk about and represent? So it's very important to understand
yeah.
your message because they are all connected.
I love it. No, it's funny, Marcos and I
It-
talk about like how we look. I mean, it's funny, I dated a girl that like went to fit him and like outfitted me one day and was like, you should get a blue book, which is like the Instagram of fashion. But like for us, Marcos and I talk about like, with our shoes, we have like minimal shoes and we use something here called Flux that is like uh, a sponsor to the pod. And then we'd like just wear Lulus or Vuoris and like, the same black shirt. And it's all about just comfort and wellness, and but you can be ready for any situation because you look professional enough to have like a good professional dinner. Or hey, are you going to the gym? I don't know, maybe he's going to the club. We don't know, but he's ready.
Not
we
me
always say,
today.
I
But I
think
think
the
like
rule,
I would just bring in.
go for
Oh,
Marcus.
sorry. I think yeah, for me it would be like I really want to be like so casual even on that stage when I eventually get to that point. Mainly because I don't want people to associate that like I mean I guess there's a stigma behind it. It's like, oh, like who is this person? He's wearing velour, he's wearing something that's like tailored and all that. I'm just like, no, I still want to be like presenting what I think matters most, which is like understanding like your basic necessities can be met with something that's very minimalistic and simple. I kind of like the Steve Jobs approach personally. It's like he wore the same thing basically every time you saw him. So like, I don't know. That's like how I would resonate. Like, damn, this dude only wears a black T-shirt and these black slacks or whatever, black pants, right? Like, yeah, like I don't know. That's just what resonates with
That
me. But again, maybe I'll change my tune if I get on a big stage like you.
and then like
Just throw
and I
a
can help
blazer
you
over
guys. So
it,
I'll be
Marcos.
glad
You
to
got the
do.
Lulus. Yeah,
Yeah.
But like think about like Steve Jobs, like you said. I love the example of Steve Jobs. If you hear a story of Apple, and by the way, he has a book of this story of Apple that I absolutely love it, the simplicity. Uh, Steve Jobs, his whole thing was about make it simple, so simple. Apple has the same URL forever. It's the same. It doesn't change for nothing. Change the option, change the product, change the launch, but it's still the same. It's simple. Apple.com. Boom. Anybody can find it. So his message was about like keep it simple. And then like even the way he dressed and everything. And that's what I'm talking about. Is for everything in life. Sometimes we're so focused like what this person does, and then we forget, but what is my message? And as a speaker, the way you dress or you bring your message, and if that's important to you, Marcus, that's definitely the way I would go. Because otherwise, the like you said, the velour, the velvet type of suit probably will make you uncomfortable and you're not going to be able to deliver a message.
Yeah. I feel like a
wow.
phony. I feel like an imposter in that type of outfit.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like they will just like Seamus mentioned, like it's like Lulu or Viore or whatever other brand that has like functionality. Like now they have like functional suits that like stretch with you. Probably be something like
Uh-huh.
that. And people are like, how much did you
Yeah,
pay for that thing? It's like realistically I could go do squats in this afterwards, like
yeah.
people know
Four-way
that. Yeah, it's a
stretch is
little
the
more
way to go.
expensive, but it needs a function like that for me.
Yeah, I mean that's what
No,
I
and
learned that from
honestly,
like
for
being in the strength
guys,
and conditioning room. When I was like, oh, no, I was just saying that like, I was just telling Marcus like I learned that in the strength and conditioning room, just to you have to look professional, buttoned up, but you have to learn how to show squats in that, by the way. So it's like the Lulus and like all the four-way stretch stuff was always great, just so helpful. But you were professional looking enough, right? And still comfortable.
yeah. And what is it professional means to? But like for a lawyer, it means a little bit different than it is for you guys. Like if I work with wellness and health and that's what I do, that's the message and that's how I want to help people get like very healthy and strong in their bodies, because being strong in their bodies will mean like be strong mentally and everything. Nothing will be harder than actually be in that, in that comfortable look that I'm ready to the gym, but I look like the elevated basic, so you can just do as a lot of like basic like look clothing that is extremely elevated. and that make you look so good. And again, it's because the fabric is the difference of like a t-shirt that is very thin and is sleek and like it kind of doesn't fit you well, for one that has a little bit more body and you're ready to go anywhere, but you look very cool. So I think it has to do with your message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this shirt that took me forever to throw away because it fit so well, but it got so stinky because of the fabric. And I'm just like, oh man, they don't make this shirt anymore. It pains me. It was just like off the rack actually fit me properly. And I'm like, damn. So I finally like took the plunge and just tossed it into the trash can. And I'm just like, you gotta go find another shirt, bro. It's time.
I will give you
So
a list of good. I will give a list of good brands that are gonna have like a nice shirt that will make you feel comfortable too.
yeah, there was like my wife got it like on sale at her old job, and it was like a really actually expensive golf brand, and she got it for like $10. And I was like, hell no, I'm not paying $150 for this shirt. It's a black t-shirt. Like,
Hey, I was designer for Adidas Golf, and the
Ooh,
technology that goes into this, if you only knew, you would pay the 250.
here we go. Yeah, there it is.
uh, well,
It's a
I
lot. It
think,
maybe fit you nicely because of technology so much. It looks basic, but the technology, the test that goes on, especially for golf, because of the wind and sometimes like bad weather and even like rain and everything, we put so much thought in developing every single piece of them. Especially, I work for TaylorMade, Adidas, and Ashworth, so it's a lot that is involved on that.
yeah, I know. Again,
But
kids, Helen, kids. It's all
I get it. I
It's
get it.
true.
Hey,
It's
hey,
true.
don't even let me start it. I got you.
I mean, my daughter has to look really cute for daycare. Let's put it that way. She's cute as a
Hey,
button, and my wife likes to style her. So yeah,
absolutely. And she's right. Both are right.
yeah. Um, Seamus, do you have anything else you want to ask? I feel like we're getting up on that hour mark, which is where we kind of like to keep things. So,
Yeah.
um, I'll let you maybe take one more, and then we can do an outro.
No, Helen, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. I honestly, that hour went by really quick. I was having too much fun. And
Right.
I think the topics here today are really great. Definitely, being able to embrace your self-worth and value and implementing that. And we got to talk about some fashion and all the things you're super passionate about. And we'll get you for a round two for sure. I wanted just to ask you, any final thoughts on any final thoughts on just kind of your message, where you're at, and kind of what you do for folks, and yeah, where they can find you.
Okay. So thank you so much. I had so much fun to hear. Was easy breezy, let's say. So they can find me on. That's why I put it like Helen Tattiane. So I'm mostly on Facebook a lot. So tag me there, DM me. You can DM me hashtag gift, and I can give you all your audience a gift. We work a lot. My partner and I, Danielle, we help people with consulting. So meaning we believe that people don't need to learn another course. We believe that they have what they
Mm,
need, they just don't know it. We believe that we are here to just help you put the pieces together and move faster. It's not about like sit down, let's learn one more thing, but no, what do you have in your hands? How can we leverage what you have and let's move faster? That's what we do. You can find me on my Facebook. And my final thoughts is like, you really do not delay. Like, understand you're the good soil and walk closely with someone that truly care about your success and bottle their belief, and yours gonna come pretty soon.
Love that. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to end this. And we thank you and appreciate you so much. I know we maybe didn't dive so much directly into the exact things you do because I think, like you'd mentioned, the authenticity of yourself. Then people, when they resonate with you as a person, they'll go find and seek out what your work actually is,
Yes.
right? Like that's the most important thing in today's society. So, I'm totally game for round two because this was super quick, easy. So like we had good laughs. It was so much fun. So everybody, if you would like to hear a little bit more, let us know please in the comments. Give us a subscribe, a like, anything to help the show grow. We're trying to deliver value as frequently as 3 times a week with our amazing guests and with our little, asides, our microbites, all these things. Every little bit does help support the channel as we're doing this thing. And we hope to continue to package it up all nicely and show you guys some amazing things that people are doing out there in the world of business, entrepreneurship, soulpreneurship, health, wellness, all those things. Thank you again, and we will see you next time.